Hi guys, my name's Molly and I am the first assistant director and social media manager of Bury the Hatchet. And in this video I'm going to show you how I edit the images that I take on set, ready for our social media pages, and how we create that horror feel and just everything we do to get our images looking the way we want them to. So the program that I use is Camera Raw by Adobe, and it's great for color grading and just enhancing your images. So I'm going to get started and show you how I edit the image of this plague doctor today. So you can see on the screen we've got the image. It's quite a dark image. There's a couple of colours on there that perhaps we can tone down because we are basically going for a cool toned, desaturated look to fit in with the horror genre. So I'm going to get straight on with it. So you can see here there are a bunch of options available. The first one is temperature. Now this is very important actually because this sets the tone, quite literally, of the image. And obviously we're going for cool tones. So I'm going to just slide this to the blue side. Not too much because we do of course want it to still look realistic. So I'm ever so slightly just going to add that blue tone to the image, but obviously keeping in with that. So about -12 is fine. It does still look realistic, but it has that blue tone over it to give it that cool feel, makes it feel a little bit darker as well. And I'm just going to increase the tint ever so slightly of the pink. It kind of helps the blue a little bit more, I find anyway. Then you have the exposure. Now, of course, the image is very dark, so I am just going to increase the exposure there. I am only going to increase it ever so slightly because otherwise it makes the image look a bit too unrealistic, and also the light can become a bit overpowering then as well. So I'm only increasing that a tiny bit. And the next one here is contrast. Now contrast is very important, especially for our genre, because it helps to enhance dark areas and it just kind of makes the image look less flat and a bit more defined, I guess. It gives it a little bit more edge. So I am going to increase the contrast there, and it just helps to make the image look a bit more alive. And the next one there is the highlights. Now I am actually going to decrease the highlights slightly because we want to eliminate a lot of the light in the image, especially from the background. You can see that because it was shot during the day, you've got the sunlight coming through in the top and just producing some light that we don't necessarily want. We want it to look a bit more darker than that. So I am just going to decrease the highlights a little bit there, as you can see. And the next one is the shadows. Now this may contradict what I've just said, but I am going to increase the shadows slightly. The reason for this is because the plague doctor's costume is of course very dark, it's black, and I want to kind of show off a bit more of the texture of the costume. You know, you can see like the texture of the hood and the creases, so I am just going to make that a little bit lighter just so you can see that, but it doesn't actually affect really anything else on the image, just the dark areas, which is the clothing. And then we've got the white tones there. I'm just going to turn those down slightly like I did with the highlights. I don't really want those light colours coming through very much. And then we've got blacks, and again with the shadows I'm just going to increase that slightly just so we can see a little bit more texture of the plague doctor's costume. So if I scroll down now, you can see that there's vibrance and saturation. Now these are very important when it comes to colour grading because we of course are going for that desaturated look. So I am going to decrease the vibrance and the saturation. Now you will see that this makes a massive difference to the image. It makes it look a lot darker, exactly what we're going for. So I'm just going to put them around about -18 and -8, and as you can see, if I just go back to the original image, you can see there is a massive difference already in what the two images look like. So if I go to curves now this is something that you can play around with. I wouldn't say there's a specific way to do this. Just sort of drag the line down and get the look that you're after. Of course, we want the plague doctor to stand out. We want the background to be quite dark. So if you pull down here, this is where all the light is coming in. So as you can see, the background's got a lot darker since doing that. And we can just help the plague doctor stand out a little bit more. Maybe if we keep it about there, that looks good. And you can also change the these bits here as well if you want to sort of play around a bit. So the next bit I am going to is the colour mixer. Now this is where the colour grading comes in, and this is very important for establishing genre, especially for horror. You know, we want to really enhance that desaturated look. So what I'm actually doing here is increasing the reds and the oranges. This brings out the Plague Doctor mask a lot more, and of course that's our subject matter, so we do want that to stand out compared to everything else. And what I'm going to do is just decrease the greens and the yellows as well, actually, because it was shot in autumn. You've got the green and the yellow and the orange leaves there, so I am just toning that down quite a bit. And as you can see, the Plague Doctor stands out quite a lot already. So if I just decrease the aqua as well, because we've got the sky coming in the background, so if we just reduce the light coming from there, that really helps actually. And then what we've got is the colour grading. Now this can be quite harsh. You have to be very careful with the colour grading aspect in this sense. So if I just show you, for example, you know, it has quite a effect on the image. So we are just applying very slightly a blue colour grade on there, on all of the wheels, especially this one. You can see it makes a massive difference to the image, so only ever so slightly are we doing that for each of these, and that just helps to create that cool tone over the top in general, and it really helps with the image. And the last thing I do to the image, and this is optional, again you can play around with absolutely anything on here, is I just add a black vignette by pulling this one down a bit. And what this does is just gives the image an overall border, helps to focus on the subject matter in the middle, makes the background look a little bit darker, and yeah, just really helps the image to look within that horror theme a bit more, and it looks good on the social pages too. So if I just show you a before and after, so this is before and this is after, you can see a massive difference, and it really fits within our horror genre, sorry. And what we'll be doing, we'll be applying this to all of our images and all of our videos on our socials for consistency across all of them, so that they all match together. And that's it really. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something from this. We've got plenty of other videos for you to watch by various members of the team, so I hope you enjoyed. Our social links are below, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much.